My name is Danielle Davis and I read, write, and roller skate in Los Angeles. Welcome to this writer's life where we peek into process. On today's episode, we're going to talk about first lines. So first lines are really fun, they're really important, and some of them are actually quite famous. And the reason is, first lines are important because they deliver the reader directly into the story. They also set the tone or the mood for what the story is going to be like. And they also entice the reader to keep reading, right? They read the first line and it makes them want to read the second and third and so on. But the thing is, don't worry, there is no right way to write a first line because every person, every writer, each of you is different. And so you will write a different first line. Even if you are writing a very similar story to someone else, your first lines would be different. So I'm going to give you some examples and they are meant to inspire you to write your own first line. For my book, Zinnia and the Bees, the first line changed quite a bit over time. As I revised the story, I would then go back and revise the first line. But here's what it ended up being. The first line is Ronnie the rattlesnake is naked. I will tell you what I notice about it, and you might want to pause the video and just think of what you notice or discuss it, but you don't have to do that, but you can. I noticed that Ronnie the rattlesnake is naked is sort of short. It's to the point and matter of fact. I also noticed that it's funny and it's kind of strange and unexpected. And I also noticed that implicitly it asks a couple of questions. One thing that a first line might do, it doesn't have to, but it might bring questions to the reader's mind. Who is Ronnie the rattlesnake? What's the big deal about a rattlesnake not wearing clothes since rattlesnakes aren't exactly known for wearing clothes? Now I'm going to read a bunch of first lines from some middle grade novels that are some of my favorites, and we can do the same thing where I'll read it and tell you what I notice. If you want to pause it and think about what you notice or discuss it, you can do that. The first one is from Midsummers Mayhem by Rajani LaRocca. And the first line is, "The song from the woods first called to me on a bright June morning while I sat on the back porch swing rereading my favorite cookbook." Here's what I notice. I notice that it gives us a setting, that it's June, it's summer, that there's a woods nearby, and I also learned something about this character, which is if they're rereading a cookbook, it means they like to cook. And it also kind of asks a question that's really important to the whole book, which is, what is this song? Because the song figures in the rest of the story as well. Another one, a first line from Hello Universe by Erin and Trada Kelly, I want to share with you. This one is, 11-year-old Virgil Salinas already regretted the rest of middle school, and he only just finished 6th grade. I noticed that this one's kind of funny, and it's also really relatable, like poor Virgil who already regrets the rest of middle school after just 6th grade. So I find myself caring about this character and wanting to follow them more. Another one is from Ghost by Jason Reynolds, and I just remember the first line because it's really short. The first line of this one is, "Check this out." So what I notice about that is that it's super short, super to the point, and it's really kind of how we speak. And it also makes me want to keep reading in terms of like, check what out, right? What is it going to be? Another example is from It Ain't So Awful, Falafel by Firuza Dumas. And the first line of this one is, "Today's Sunday and we're moving again." So that one already gives me a lot of compassion for the character. It tells me that they're moving, it tells me that they've moved before, and so it makes me feel for them, and I already feel a little bit sad, but I also get a sense that this narrator might be a little bit funny in their sadness too, and this is a funny book. Another one is from Voyage of the Dogs by Greg Van Eekhout, I believe. And the first line here is, "Lopside hoped to find a rat." So what I noticed about this one is that this is told from the perspective of dogs, and Lopside is a dog. And so I find it funny and curious and intriguing, and Lopside, we already know what Lopside wants most, right, and cares about, and it's finding rats. This one is from Front Desk by Kelly Yang, and the first line here is, "My parents told me that America would be this amazing place where we could live in a house with a dog, do whatever we want, and eat hamburgers till we were red in the face. What I noticed about that one is it's a little bit longer and more storytelling, and I also noticed that it sets up this expectation of a reversal. Like, we were told one thing, but I feel like this book is gonna be about how that thing didn't pan out to be true. And finally, here's a short first line from Skellig by David Almond. And this first line is, I found him in the garage on a Sunday afternoon. To me, the question that this asks is, who did you find, right? And that's what the story answers. Who did this character, this main character and narrator, find in the garage on that Sunday afternoon? I hope that those were inspiring to you to write your own. What you can do to write a first line is you might set a timer for, say, 2 minutes. You could doodle or stare at the wall and see if a first line for a story pops into your mind. If it does, write it down and capture it. And then you might notice what you notice about it. You might play with it and experiment and shape it a little bit if you want. And then you can write a second line and a third line. And what I want you to do is I want you to trust that you can come up with a first line and write it, and that you can write lines after that, because I am very confident that you can. Thank you for spending this time here with me on This Writer's Life. I hope that you'll subscribe or leave a comment or question and join me for future episodes.
Hi guys, my name is Bonnie and I'm super thrilled to be here today. My great friend Danielle has asked me to share with you some tips from my own creative process. I am a food stylist and content creator at Disney Family, and what that basically means is that I create recipes and crafts that end up on their website. So anything from a Winnie the Pooh burger to a after-school snack featuring Forky from Toy Story 4. These are typically the types of projects that I work on. For your own creative projects and for your creative writing, my best advice to you is to start with ideas and topics that you love and feel passionate about. And that can really mean starting by writing about a person that you know, or maybe a person that you admire but you've never met. It could be a place that you've always wanted to go to, or a place that you've been and you just found so amazing. It could be a time of year, it could be a holiday, a color, a hobby. As long as the topic is something that inspires you and makes you feel happy and interested, it's really a good tipping point for your creative writing process. So start with what you love and you can't go wrong with that. Happy writing!